Hello and welcome to Harmony Hall, a sacred space for all. As we gather in peace, we will grow in our beliefs and let our spirits breathe, as we gently explore the many faiths and religions that shape our spiritual world. Harmony Hall is a place of respect, reflection, and spiritual curiosity, and today we return to ancient Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization, where beneath the stars and beside the rivers of Sumer, a story was carved into clay over 4,000 years ago, a story of kings and gods, of loss and longing, of friendship, mortality, and the search for something more. This is the Epic of Gilgamesh, a sacred text, not in doctrine, but in depth. Because to the ancient world, stories were sacred. They held truth even when wrapped in myth. Thank you for being here today, and for choosing Harmony Hall to help you on your spiritual walk to self-discovery. In ancient Mesopotamia, the city of Uruk rose between the Tigris and Euphrates, its walls towering like mountains. Uruk was a marvel, bustling, proud, and crowned with ziggurats dedicated to the gods. At its heart ruled Gilgamesh, two-thirds god, one-third man, famed for his strength and wisdom. He built Uruk's mighty walls, a testament to his power and vision. Yet, Gilgamesh's greatness was double-edged. His strength inspired awe, but also fear. The story of Gilgamesh, carved into clay tablets, reveals a world where gods and mortals mingled, and a king's legacy was both a blessing and a burden. Within Uruk's walls, society flourished. Priests, soldiers, merchants, and farmers all played their part. But Gilgamesh's rule, for all its glory, carried a darkness that his people struggled to bear. Gilgamesh's early reign was marked by arrogance and unchecked power. He believed himself above the law, exhausting Uruk's young men with endless demands and contests. The people admired his strength but lived in fear of his whims. Even the elders whispered, he was a tyrant, not a shepherd. The women suffered most, as Gilgamesh claimed the right to any new bride, wounding the city's heart. Desperate, the people prayed to the gods for relief. The gods answered. Gilgamesh needed an equal, someone to challenge and balance him. They created Enkidu, a wild man from the wilderness, destined to confront the king. Enkidu would be Gilgamesh's rival, and perhaps his salvation. Thus, the stage was set for a meeting that would change Uruk forever. The goddess Aruru, moved by the prayers of the people, shaped Enkidu from the red clay of the steppe, her hands molding him with divine intent. She set him loose in the wild, where the wind howled and the grasses stretched as far as the eye could see. Enkidu roamed free among the animals, living as one of them, innocent, powerful, and untouched by civilization. He disrupted the hunters, breaking their traps and freeing their prey, earning a reputation as a force of nature. One day, a trapper, terrified by this wild man who ruined his livelihood, fled to the city of Uruk to seek help from its mighty king, Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh, intrigued by tales of Enkidu's strength, sent Shamhat, a wise and gentle temple woman, to tame the wild man and bring him into the world of humans. Shamhat introduced Enkidu to bread, beer, and the customs of civilization. Through her kindness, he was transformed, his wildness softened, and he began to understand the ways of people. No longer accepted by the animals he once called kin, Enkidu felt a new longing for purpose. He set out for Uruk, drawn by the promise of something greater. Hearing of Gilgamesh's unmatched strength and boldness, Enkidu vowed to challenge the king, determined to prove himself. In Uruk, Enkidu blocked Gilgamesh from claiming a bride, and the two clashed in a titanic struggle that echoed through the city's streets. Their battle shook the very walls of Uruk, and the people watched in awe, for neither man could truly defeat the other. In the end, respect replaced rivalry, and a new understanding was born between them. Gilgamesh and Enkidu embraced, forging a friendship as powerful as their strength, united by their shared courage and spirit. Together, they would seek meaning beyond power, embarking on adventures that would test their hearts and souls. The wild man and the king had found in each other what neither could find alone, a true companion for the journey ahead. Their bond would shape the fate of Uruk and themselves, forever changing the course of legend. With Enkidu at his side, Gilgamesh sought a quest worthy of legend. He proposed they journey to the forbidden cedar forest, guarded by the monstrous Humbaba. Enkidu, knowing the dangers, warned Gilgamesh, but the king's desire for glory was unshakable. The elders and Gilgamesh's mother, Ninsun, blessed their journey, though with heavy hearts. Armed with mighty weapons, the friends crossed mountains and faced ominous dreams. Enkidu interpreted the dreams as omens of victory, bolstering Gilgamesh's resolve. At last they reached the cedar forest's edge, awed by its beauty and the threat within. Humbaba awaited, and the greatest challenge of their lives was about to begin. The fate of heroes would be decided in the shadow of ancient trees. Gilgamesh and Enkidu called out Humbaba, and a fierce battle erupted. With Shamash's winds aiding them, they defeated the monster, despite Humbaba's pleas for mercy. Enkidu urged Gilgamesh to finish the deed, and together they killed Humbaba, claiming the forest's cedars. Their triumphant return to Uruk brought celebration, and the attention of Ishtar, goddess of love and war. Ishtar proposed marriage, promising Gilgamesh wealth and power. Gilgamesh rejected her, mocking her history with mortal lovers. Furious, Ishtar demanded vengeance from her father Anu. She called for the bull of heaven to punish Gilgamesh for his insult. The god's wrath was about to descend on Uruk. The hero's greatest victory had sown the seeds of their greatest trial. The balance between mortals and gods was about to be shattered. Ishtar unleashed the bull of heaven, bringing chaos and death to Uruk. Gilgamesh and Enkidu faced the beast together, defeating it in a spectacular battle. Enkidu, in defiance, hurled the bull's thigh at Ishtar, sealing their fate. The gods convened, angered by the deaths of Humbaba and the bull. They decreed that one hero must die. Enkidu, the wild man, was chosen. Enkidu fell ill, cursing his fate and those who led him to civilization. The god Shamash reminded him of the gift of friendship and adventure. Enkidu accepted his fate and died, leaving Gilgamesh devastated and alone. The king who feared nothing now faced the terror of mortality. The shadow of death had fallen over Uruk's greatest hero. Grief-stricken, Gilgamesh could not accept Enkidu's death, or his own mortality. He set out to find Utnapishtim, the immortal survivor of the Great Flood, seeking the secret of eternal life. Gilgamesh journeyed through wilderness and darkness, facing monsters and despair. At the gates of the Mashu Mountains, scorpion guardians let him pass, moved by his sorrow. He traversed a tunnel of endless night, emerging into a garden of jeweled trees. But Gilgamesh pressed on, driven by fear of death, not wonder. His quest led him to the edge of the world, closer than any mortal to the god's secret. The king who once sought glory now sought only to escape oblivion. His journey was a test of spirit, not just strength. The answer he sought would change him forever. At the edge of the world, where the sea of death stretched endlessly, Gilgamesh sought answers to the mysteries of life and death. There he met Siduri, the wise tavern keeper, who welcomed him with bread and wine, urging him to cherish life's simple joys, good food, friendship, and the beauty of each day. But Gilgamesh, driven by grief and longing, pressed on. He found Urshanabi the ferryman, and together they braved the deadly mist-shrouded waters, journeying to the distant home of Utnapishtim, the immortal man. Utnapishtim welcomed Gilgamesh and told him the ancient story of the flood. Warned by the god Ea, he built a mighty ark, saved his family and all living things, and was granted immortality as a reward for his obedience and courage. But this extraordinary gift, Utnapishtim explained, was unique, a one-time reward from the gods, never to be repeated for any mortal. To show Gilgamesh the limits of human endurance, Utnapishtim challenged him to stay awake for 6 days and 7 nights. Despite his determination, Gilgamesh failed, succumbing to deep sleep as loaves of bread marked each passing day, a silent testament to the power of time. Even the mighty king who had conquered monsters and crossed deserts could not conquer sleep, let alone death itself. Moved by Gilgamesh's sorrow, Utnapishtim's wife persuaded her husband to offer Gilgamesh a consolation. A magical plant, hidden in the depths of the sea, that could restore lost youth to anyone who possessed it. With hope rekindled, Gilgamesh dove into the waters and retrieved the precious plant, dreaming of bringing its gift to his people and granting them a second chance at youth. But as he rested, exhausted from his journey, a cunning snake crept up and stole the plant away, shedding its skin and youth before Gilgamesh's eyes, leaving him with nothing but regret. Overcome with grief, Gilgamesh wept, his last hope for immortality lost forever. He had journeyed to the ends of the earth, faced gods and monsters, only to return home empty-handed, changed by all he had learned. The lesson of mortality was inescapable. No man can escape death, but wisdom and legacy endure. Defeated and weary, Gilgamesh returned to Uruk with Urshanabi by his side, his heart heavy with sorrow, but his spirit profoundly changed by the journey. As he gazed upon the city's mighty walls, the very stones seemed to whisper of his past deeds and struggles. In that moment, he realized his true legacy was not immortality, but the city he had built, the people he had led, and the wisdom he could share. He described Uruk's splendor to the ferryman with newfound pride and humility, the towering walls, sacred temples, and lush gardens, seeing them with new eyes as if for the first time, appreciating their beauty and meaning. Gilgamesh understood that human life is fleeting, a brief moment in the flow of time, but achievements, stories, and the bonds we form can endure for generations. He had left Uruk as a tyrant, obsessed with power and terrified of death's shadow. He returned as a wiser king, humbled by loss, grateful for friendship, and aware of his own humanity. The Epic of Gilgamesh became a lesson for all who heard it, to seek meaning not in escaping death, but in living fully, cherishing each day, and leaving something lasting behind for others to remember. The king's journey from arrogance to wisdom echoed through the ages, inspiring countless generations. In the end, it was not immortality, but the embrace of his own humanity, and the love he shared with his people that made Gilgamesh truly great. The walls of Uruk stood as his monument, and his story, a gift to all who seek purpose and understanding in their own lives. Thus, the tale of Gilgamesh endures, a beacon from the dawn of civilization, lighting the way for those who follow. And so, the king's greatest legacy was not his strength or his conquests, but his understanding of what it means to be human, and the wisdom he left behind for all. Thank you for joining me today on this sacred walk through time. Here in Harmony Hall, we gather in peace, grow in our beliefs, and let our spirits breathe, as we gently explore the many faiths and religions that shape our spiritual world. Join us next time, as we continue this journey of wonder, wisdom, and reflection, because here in Harmony Hall, all religions are welcomed and every voice is heard.